If someday.
It is Tuesday, March the 29th, 2022. I am James. You are you. We are here. And dare I say, this feels a little weird. It feels slightly strange. It feels peculiar and bizarre. It has been almost a full year since we have done a show on a Tuesday. This is a rarity. Why are we doing a show on a Tuesday? We were supposed to do an episode last night. It was in the can. It was announced. It was out there. It was promoted. And then some technical difficulties sent us right down the drain into the toilet. But I am a man of conviction. I woke up, sprung out of bed, had my morning tea, because due to the novel coronavirus that I'm suffering with right now, I can't taste coffee. Why waste drinking a morning coffee when you can waste no taste on a tea? And I thought, what if we did a show on a Tuesday instead of waiting to do the one and only show on a Wednesday? Because guess what? Won't be here on a Friday. Why is that? I will be on stage as per usual, as the youngsters like to say. So as we've been doing 2 episodes a week for the past 6 or 7 weeks or so, I thought it is my duty to give the at-home viewers, the audience, the fan base, 2 episodes this week of what? The show that won't go away. So I grabbed my phone. I sent, as the Australians would say, a text message to Mr. Andy Assaf. And he, by the grace of God, said, I love it. I love a spontaneous show, just like I love a spontaneous lunch with his number one lil cutie, a.k.a. the smooth operator, a.k.a. the hot property, a.k.a. the genuine article, a.k.a. the cool breeze lover. Of course, we're talking about James Allen McGee. But with that good news comes a bit of bad news, which we'll be getting to a little bit later on, because I'm not going to start this show off with bad news. I feel like this show has been shrouded with bad news for the past few weeks. Tonight, we turn it around only to send it all the way back down into the gutter. Who else is here? Quickly becoming a legend on this show, Annabelle Agnew is going to be joining me in just a little bit. She's going to be talking me through what it takes to get over COVID. Now, when I presented this as a subject matter for her, she made a face that would be comparable to someone putting a sour lemon candy in their mouth. So we'll see where the conversation goes, because apparently I'm running low on conversation ideas to the point that the guests don't like it. Let's get this show started. What we're going to do right now is welcome back another legend of the at-home world. We're going to be doing something that is fast becoming one of my favorite segments in the history of this itsy bitsy program. We're going to be looking through the most obscure and unknown albums throughout the history of music. But of course, we can't do this without a true music, a true album and record digger. Please welcome back to the program. He's wearing a Russian hat, Jason Grimmer. Jason, welcome back to the show.
I'm not wearing a Russian hat. It's just a fur hat, James. But hi, how are you?
What's the problem with wearing a Russian hat?
It's just not a popular thing at the moment.
Look, we're not going to sit here and disparage Russian people because the people who run that government are slime.
Okay, well, it's not a Russian hat. It's just a fur hat.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Hey, James, I found a bunch of records that we haven't, no one's ever heard of before.
Now, this is exciting. It's good to have you back. This is the 3rd time we're doing this. You've been here twice before. This is, as I mentioned, quickly becoming a very popular segment on this very modest but popular show. Coming in from the chat right now, courtesy of the real Andrew Mackay, quote, missed you guys last night, so I rewatched a bit of last week's. Glad to see you tonight. This is who we do the show for, the people that are tried and tested. They're there with us. They've got our back. They're in our corner. And we're going to hit these people with some obscure albums. Jason, what should we expect tonight? Any bits of gold that might render people a bit of money if they have this in their collection, and it might just be collecting dust?
I mean, there's a couple of these that you could look up on Discogs and see if they're worth anything. But I wanted to say something, that this show and this segment is popular because as I sidle up to the record bins, I'm noticing more and more that some of these people are recognizing me and sort of parting. They're parting like the Red Sea and allowing me to get first dibs into the bin because they know I'm finding the gold every time. So I'm getting a certain respect in the record and collecting industry that I never really thought or dreamed of before, and it's great.
So you're telling me right here that because you're going to find all these obscure and unknown albums, you've become a digger.
I might be like top of the heap at this point. I'm prying open oyster shells and digging out pearls left and right.
I love that. Now I want to backtrack a little bit here for a second before we get into the albums tonight, courtesy of High Score Run. Quote, James is right. Jason is making a political statement with that hat. How do you respond?
I'm not. It's my thing. It's my hat. It's like I got it from. It's not Russian.
All right. Well, Jason, let's get to why we're here. We're going to see the first obscure album of the night. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this one features. This is a rare super group of some women who got together. Of course, you know very well one of them is Lornette. But she's teamed up here with two of her friends. We've got Dolly DeMaurier and Lady Cassandra, and together they're She-Nanigans. And this is a really great live album of them at Burning Man in 2003.
Yeah. Now, let's unpack this album cover a little bit. Now, of course, we've got Lornette, which is at the far left. Can you tell me a little bit about the two ladies? Who's who here?
Well, that's Lornette, and then as you go aside, you've got Dolly DeMaurier, so-called because that's her brand, and she's sticking to it.
Got it. And we're talking about DeMaurier cigarettes.
Yeah, and then we've got Lady Cassandra, who's probably the more elegant of them all, and probably has done more work in sort of a more highfalutin juke joints around town.
Yep.
Not the
so
trash.
This is a live album, courtesy, or rather, that took place at 2003's Burning Man Festival.
Yeah, and they never recorded again together because I don't think they're friends. I think this was the last sort of hurrah for this trio of hard drinking ladies, and they did a bunch of new songs on this too.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to go through the couple, but there's that We've All Had Floppy Joe. That was a big one. I think they tell this long story ahead of time about how they all met coming out of Floppy Joe's apartment at separate times. Shake It. It Took Your Mother 9 months to Make It, which is referred to like someone's rump.
Yeah. Now this next song, this sounds like a real romantic one.
Sambuca and Lube.
That's correct.
Yeah, Sambuca and Lube it would have been a hit if it hadn't been so sexually charged. It's funny because if you listen to the lyrics, they're saying you have a choice between the two. You don't have to.
I kind of trailed off because I accidentally, and I apologize for this, I accidentally looked at the next song on the track listing.
Daryl's Donkey?
Daryl's Donkey is correct.
Yeah, well, it's a sweet song. It's about Lornette's dad, Daryl, who ran a donkey show.
Okay.
For years. So
this next one sounds disturbing.
Do the Mud Flap Slap.
Yeah.
Mud flap refers to the ass cheeks of a person in their senior, maybe, and it sort of has this sort of feel in the slap, just showing the spice stays. The skin sags, but the spice remains. Yeah,
so that sounds like it could be a song too. The skin sags, but the spice remains. Speaking of spice, we've got a song that bears that name.
Yeah, Smells Like Old Spice. It's their Smells Like Teen Spirit, which Teen Spirit, of course, was a deodorant, and Old Spice is a cologne that all women enjoy.
Well, how did the goers of Burning Man enjoy this, frankly, this diva power trio?
I think if you, judging by the crowd noises, judging by the sort of engagement that they have with the audience, I think it went over really great. It changed a lot of people's minds about what three senior ladies who smell of alcohol can do. Yeah.
Now, would you like to get specific about what type of alcohol they maybe smelled like?
Well, Lornette's always got a bit of a sort of a Labatt's 50 musk. And then on top of that, just as a sort of a spicy sort of touch to it, there's always a little bit of a like a Sambuca or what's that licorice? There's a licorice kind of, I forget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. like them, I don't want to read or talk about booze. I just want to drink it.
All right. Well, fair enough. Coming in from the chat, courtesy of Jay Voorhees 88, an old friend, says, quote, Old Spice deodorant burns my armpits.
That's one of the lyrics from the song. This person's obviously heard this song before.
Also coming in from the chat, quote, now, Jason, you might know a thing or two about this. Lornette sounds like a lovely lady.
Well, I think this is usually the takeaway everyone has from that.
Right,
she does, because James, she's in there with the dirty jokes. She's in there with the sexual innuendos, but she's still someone who's going to give you a drive home or let you sleep in her car on the way home.
Well, that's very kind and charitable of her. And of course, this is Shenanigans live at Burning Man 2003. And how much is this worth on Discogs?
It's worth 45 cents.
That's one of the more expensive albums that you featured on the show.
It just didn't do well. It just didn't do well. It wasn't a great live album. It's not a live at Budokan. It's not a
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of just live at Burning Man.
Now, what do you think Lornette's version of to the audience? Of course, I want you to want me. What would her version be of that?
It's exactly that, followed by and then the other two in unison go between the sheets.
All right, yeah. Well, let's move on to the next album. This was Shenanigans live at the 2003 Burning Man. What are we going to next, Jason?
This is a very freaked out album that is an evangelist named Dickie P. Girth. And he put out a record. He was a youth pastor for a youth ministry. And he put out this album that's really supposed to be like, keep the eye on God during puberty. You know, don't get lost. God's there to guide you through puberty. Yeah. And
if Lornette is a lovely lady, then I would say Dickie P. Girth is a real man's man.
I mean, I don't know much about him other than he's got a bit of a sort of a complexion of a lobster, which I find kind of interesting.
Hold on, take your glasses off for a second. There's a resemblance.
Well, that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through these tracks really quickly, okay?
So once again, this is Dickie P. Girth's Hell on Earth, applying God's grace as puberty changes your body.
Yeah.
Very of the time.
Pretty blunt. First track is Don't Pull Your Penis. Second track is Don't Pull Your Friend's Penis. Third is Don't Pull Your Pet's Penis. Fourth is Leave Your Penis Alone. Then it's God's grass grows around your tree. Don't cram things in you. These are important things during puberty.
This next one is,
Satan's log ride. And the only man I'll share my wife with is God. And then, of course, I stared at a picture of Jesus while I made my son.
Now, what's your favorite track on this album?
We're going to hear a bit of it now. We got.
We're going to hear for the first time.
Hear a little bit of one of my favorite tracks.
We're going to now. Which sample is this of?
This is from this album, and it's a song. It's one that's not listed. I didn't list all of them. There's like 24 tracks here. This one is just called. I forget what it's called. It's called something like.
All right, here we go.
Hell on Earth. Let's hear it.
If someday God calls on you and asks you, are you prepared for eternity? And your mouth is full of sexual organs. How's he gonna understand you? He's not. And you're gonna go to hell. To hell. To hell.
So we're talking real fire and brimstone stuff.
Yeah, I think what I was kind of surprised by is I thought there would maybe be some musical accompaniment, maybe like an organ commonly seen in churches and things like that. This is a spoken word series of sermons.
This is literally a 45-minute album of him yelling at people and them clapping. And
coming in from the chat, courtesy of Charlito Monti, quote, not a traditional a cappella voice.
No, it's not. They're not songs. You know, I don't think his passion and his talent weren't songwriting. It was, getting the devil out of you and getting God inside you. And
I think the voice bears a bit of a striking resemblance to Steve Harwell, lead singer of Smash Mouth.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've never. Not only do I've not really heard Smash Mouth. I don't totally fully believe they exist. So I don't know.
All right. Well, Jason, how much is this album worth on Discogs? Hell on Earth.
Dude, when I grabbed this from the bin, this other man tried to grab it from me, and he tumbled. He tumbled. His pants were loose. He tumbled and fell down in the record store, and his pants sort of fell down. and I was like, I know I've got something special. I looked it up on eBay, and it's worth, or Discogs, and it's worth $352.
Okay, so now this is in pole position of the most expensive album you found in the bargain bin.
Yeah, because it's been used as samples. Kanye West, Future, like a lot of Megan Thee Stallion have used a lot of these samples.
All right, well, let's move on to the next album. We've already seen 2 real home runs. What do we have next, Jason?
We've got this. This is a reunion album of a great 60s band that sort of existed along the same time as Jefferson Airplane. They were called Time Bag, which is kind of a play on Dime Bag.
Sure.
They were a big drug band, but they played all the festivals, because some of these songs. Tortoiseshell Hubcap.
Tell me a little bit about before we get into it, I want to know a little bit about the members of the band.
Well, there's only 2 left. The only 2 original members left. This is, of course, they've reunited for this album. And it's only 2 of them. That's Doug Blow Thompson.
Yeah, this Doug Blow Thompson looks like he runs on Duncan.
Maybe. And then, of course, what we have there is Magic Helen. And Magic Helen.
Is Magic Helen okay?
I don't think it's something you want to she's been through a lot. And it's,
but much like Grace Slick was of the Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, so she's been through a lot. She was in Time Bag, and they played at Altamont, they played at Woodstock, they played everywhere, and then they come back and they do an album. It wasn't the best album. I'll tell you, spoiler right away. It's not worth any money.
Yeah, she looks like she'd pair well with Lornette.
Sure.
They must have crossed paths in a washroom at a bar at some point.
Well, this Magic Helen looks like she was used for something in a bar, maybe to clean up some wet stuff on the.
A question. Yeah, question coming in from the chat. This one's for you, Jason. Is she gagged or smoking?
She's smoking.
Smoking. Yeah, of course she's smoking. She's just smoking a cigarette. Let's hear about some of the tracks on this album.
Classic. This is them redoing their classics. Everyone knows these songs. Tortoiseshell Hubcap.
Yep. Love it.
Seeing it spinning round and round.
Yep.
Tortoiseshell. Okay. Marty's Mystery Mushroom, which is an 80-minute song.
This next one is my personal favorite.
If High was a Flavor.
Yeah.
Which was a really good sort of nice one. The Bassman.
Yep.
Which is weird because their bassist left the group. They have a new one. What's your STD? And STD, of course, stands for Sonic Travel Destination.
Yeah.
So just a real, warriors, time warriors, just like music warriors making their way through and enjoying their set. They're going to be playing at Osheaga.
Wait, hold on. Time Bag is reuniting for Osheaga?
So they've been touring all year. They didn't even know COVID existed, and they just toured.
Oh, well, yeah, that judging by the photos of the remaining members on this album cover, that would make sense. Well, let's move on to the next album, Jason.
Okay, this is a real punk classic. Okay, this is Steve Shitter and the Sharks, and it's live at the Crotch Bar, which was a really legendary punk venue in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And Steve Shitter, of course, is like a real crazy shock rocker, right? Like his songs are all.
How could he not be with a name like that?
If you're easily offended, I would advise not to listen to him, and maybe not even listen to these next song titles that we'll go through. But
okay, so before we get into it, you're saying these song titles might shock and disturb some people,
which is the whole point with Steve Shitter and the Sharks.
All right.
Right? So you've got nail my wiener to a board.
I like the idea of nail my wiener to a board.
The Garbage Man is my son. My favorite sock. Punch my nut bag.
Yep.
I'm giving myself a reach around.
Mm-hmm.
My lasagna looks the same as when I ate it.
Yeah. So this is this is a lot of shock rock.
But you like this kind of stuff, James, and that's why I have a special little snippet from one of the songs, from the song "The Garbage Man Is My Son," which Andy will kindly play for us right now.
All right, here we go. This is a sample from live at the Crotch Bar.
Pretty good.
So I want to go over these lyrics here. If I'm understanding correctly, his lyric, I threw my baby in the garbage can and now he's the garbage man.
And he grew up to be my garbage man.
Grew up to be my garbage man. Can we hear that again? Jason, do you think we have time for that?
Yeah, of course.
Great, let's hear
one record left.
Yeah, let's hear that again. Now, this deals with very controversial lyrics, right? We're talking about discarding children.
Well, this is why it's kind of like it's comedy in a lot of ways. He's a performance artist.
Yeah.
You know, although that's a true story, he
Yeah.
does say in a way of like he's really talking about how proud he is that his son's a garbage man now, as he himself had been discarded.
Now, I would like for you to speak to, I don't know about this, right? Again, this is an obscure album. Coming in from the chat, clarify this for me, Jason, whether this is true or false. Thomas Barnwell writes, quote, I hear Steve is doing Christian rock now. Is that true?
It is true. Barnwell knows his stuff.
It's true. Yeah, he is what I have referred to on the show as a music guy.
Yeah. He's still known as Steve Shitter, though, because that is his real last name.
Yeah.
So it's a bit problematic, but you know.
Well, maybe he could work with the pronunciation, right? Maybe like Scheiter.
That might work. I don't know. I've never heard his name said out loud.
Right. All right. So let's go on to our final album.
This is our last one, and I don't have any snippets from this. I'm sorry, but this is, of course, Recess by Mason Todd.
Oh my goodness.
And he's just really a fan of young people.
Yeah, I can tell by his sweater.
So he's got, it's a picture of him just at a park with no kids in it and Recess. Yep. So I'm assuming it's probably after Recess. They've gone back. I'm not really sure. And then of course, his song "Kids Are Great." I can't wait to meet my nephew.
Oh no,
it's a nice song. There's candy in my pocket brackets that I just can't reach. A white van and tan slacks. Adults are just kids with wrinkles. And I stare because I care. These are all like really kind of sweet songs.
Yeah, this sounds more problematic than the last album, especially that one song. What is it? There's candy in my pocket that I just can't reach.
You've been there, right?
No.
You've never been able to reach in your pocket? I know what sometimes I'll have candy in my pocket and I'll use the wrong hand and I'll be like, I can't, and it can't reach it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I could have that candy, but I got to use my other hand, which is busy. So
now, coming in from the chat, we've got another comment from Andrew Mackay. He says, quote, I sense more of a resemblance to Mason over Dickie P. So he's saying that he thinks you look like a Mason Todd.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. I mean, this guy looks like a LL Bean model from an 80s catalog.
Yeah, who maybe aged out.
Of the biz?
Yeah, of the biz, yeah.
Well, like he says, adults are just kids with wrinkles, James.
Yeah. I mean, he says that. I don't think I would, but now how much does this album go for on Discogs? Or is it condemned?
This one's illegal to sell on
Discogs? That's what I would have assumed, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, it's blocked in the marketplace. You can't sell it, you can't buy it. It's like they're trying to erase this whole, album, which is, if you hear it, it's quite enjoyable and quite nice. The sentiment is nice.
Well, speaking about things that are enjoyable and quite nice, Jason, this is the third time we've done this, and I have to say this has been just as enjoyable and quite nice as the first time we did it, as well as the second time.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I liked it too. I'm glad to be able to sort of source these out for you and enjoy them together, James.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, they can probably find you around the various kiosks at the Saint Michel Marché aux Puces.
Yeah, but I say this with all respect, don't bother me when I'm digging, because I'm focusing and I'm looking and I'm not ready to talk, and I can see that swell happening already of people wanting to talk to me. So
okay, so just remain cautious as maybe parents would with their children around Mason Todd. Coming in from the chat, quote, Jason for mayor, I love this segment. Jason, you might officially be the mayor of At Home.
Well, there's nothing I like better than being elected mayor with no election. That's great.
I've been giving out titles and awards. I've retired jerseys. The other night, I gave Thomas the award for Irishman of the Year.
Wow, that's great. Because that was a huge list.
It was a huge list, yeah.
Well, I accept any sort of position as mayor. I like city planning. I'm happy.
All right. Well, Jason, look, thanks so much for being here again, and take care. And once again, I love that Russian hat.
It's fur.
That's Jason Grimmer, and this was another edition of Obscure and Unknown Albums. Folks, just because we're doing a show on Tuesday doesn't mean we're going to skip tomorrow and then do a show on Thursday night. No. We will be back tomorrow. Who's going to be here? Downtown Alex Brown. It's the return of Raquel Belmonte and the return of Dave Kaufman. He's fresh off of a flight from a extended trip to San Francisco, where he was at a video game conference, aka Virgin Conference, aka Nerd Conference. Dave will be back tomorrow night. So in 24 hours from now, we will be 31 minutes into tomorrow's episode of At Home. Let's welcome our next guest. Please welcome back the one and the only AA Annabelle Agnew. Annabelle, how's it going? Welcome back to the program.
Good. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing very well despite catching the legendary coronavirus.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I wanted to bring you on. I wanted to talk about ways in which, I can get over this nasty illness. And then you gave me that exact look that you're giving me now. It was full disappointment. Take me through why this was so disappointing for you.
Because we could talk about literally anything else. Anything else.
Sure. Yeah. I just thought it felt topical, right? Like I've been detailing my frankly, my courageous battle.
Do you have a spreadsheet?
Illness. What's that now?
Do you have like one of your little spreadsheets that you
I'm a fan of a spreadsheet. I didn't put together a little spreadsheet for this. If I did, I'm sure it would be extensive, but I thought this is topical, right? You recovered from the coronavirus, and then suddenly I find out that you're like, nah, James, I don't like it.
I don't. I was so excited to find out what we were going to talk about, and that was not what I guessed at all. So I think
you're saying
I think you're scraping the barrel.
You're saying did you make any guesses about what we could possibly talk about?
Well, normally you send me a topic about what we're going to talk about, and then I didn't get one today.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, maybe we're going to do a random wheel, like one of those random wheel.
Okay, you got excited that we'd be doing something exciting and randomized. Yeah, that is not occurring on this segment at all.
No.
Now, I feel this is a comparable feeling when you think that you really nailed it on a gift that you purchased for someone and they open it up and it looks like they're staring into a box full of dog doo-doo.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
So you're confirming that this is but I thought we've grown close, I would say, more so than previous. I thought you'd really jump at the chance of coming on here and motivating me and letting me know that, James, you can do it. You can beat this thing. You can say #coronavirus strong.
No, I know you're going to beat it. I already talked to you. I think I've talked to you every day and you've been fine. So, you can't taste anything.
Let's define fine, right? What is fine, right?
Fine is you're not dead.
Yeah, I am not dead, right? I would say between the two of us, maybe you had it a little bit worse than I did.
I did. Definitely. I'm the hero here of this corona story.
And that's exactly why I wanted to bring one hero on to sort of pass on heroic advice to another new and burgeoning hero. And I come to find out that this is the first time I've never had a guest more disappointed to be here than ever before.
Yeah. And, I sent you here, do this, do that. Here's some steps of what you need to do. And you ignored, you didn't even comment. You didn't even say thanks, Annabelle, or anything. You just you just
okay. So it sounds like we're working something out here.
Yeah.
Right. Because I saw what you sent me. You said anything with ginger. But here's the thing,
Yeah.
I never really caught it that bad.
Mm-hmm.
My worst symptom is I can't taste. I'm still tasteless.
It's because you didn't eat ginger from the get-go.
Now, hold on now. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we're getting the segment I really wanted, right? Eat ginger. Annabelle, what are some other tips to get over COVID?
You should eat spicy soup, preferably with ginger.
Okay, so maybe like a sweet and sour or a tom yum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything with spice. Get the sweat out of you.
Okay.
And that's all. That's all you need.
Okay, so I guess I'm coming to terms with maybe understanding why you felt the way that you did. Because as we're doing this, it's occurring to me now, oh yeah, maybe this is kind of flat. It's a little boring.
Yeah, it's a little boring. I mean, you could watch terrible TV, but I know that you
I
probably won't.
I haven't watched any television
Yeah.
during my quarantine time.
Because you don't feel that bad.
No,
So-
and I spend most of my time at home alone anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you can't leave the house? What are you doing?
What do? I play a lot of solitaire. I listen to a lot of music. I tidy up,
Oh.
chat with
What ki-
people.
Do you play solitaire like physical cards?
No,
or
I
do you have it on the
play
computer?
Spider Solitaire on a website.
Okay. All right. I love solitaire. My kids think it's the most boring thing, but it's a great game.
Yeah, but the youngsters nowadays, they're playing like PlayStation, and they're on their Nintendo Switch, right? And they're on this and that and the other, right? A couple people like us, we appreciate the finer things in the classic games.
That's right. Old timey stuff. Old timey stuff. Anyway.
Okay. Well, so Annabelle, look, you're displeased, right? You're displeased, which is fine, right? This is not the first time that I think I've disappointed you in the span of a week.
Really? Has there been another time?
Well, I think dating back to last Thursday, let's pull the curtain back here a little bit. What people may not know is that you've really blossomed and burgeoned and graduated from the James Allen McGee School of Improvised Performance. Is that would you say that's accurate?
Oh yeah. Is that my report card of how I've done in improv?
Yes, yeah. Your report card is that you've burgeoned and flourished. Now you had a class show. I've been teaching you, as well as a variety of other talented people, for 6 weeks up until last Thursday. You had a class show, and for the first time ever in my 9 years of teaching, I was unable to attend one of my own classes shows. So this is the second time I've disappointed you.
Yeah, that's right. You failed us all that
Right.
evening by not showing up, by trying to protect us from COVID.
Okay, so in some ways it hurt me more than it hurt you.
Yeah, we left that as a question mark. We weren't sure if it hurt you more than it hurt me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll never know because it's a very subjective back and forth experience. So I disappointed you last week. I've disappointed you tonight. Annabelle, I'm going to do something that I have very rarely done in the history of this program. Annabelle, I'm putting the segment in your hands.
No, don't do that.
Right? See, everyone thinks it's so easy, right? James, he'll come up with 3 separate segments. And then I turn it on the guests and they go, I don't know what I would do if I was in charge of the at-home show.
Well, because I thought you had it all ready to go, and now.
And I thought I did too.
Yeah, well, you should have. This is your show. It's not At Home with Annabelle. This is At Home with James.
Well, okay. Well, let's examine. What if it was At Home with Annabelle? Right? How would At Home with Annabelle differ from the weird and eccentric world of the At Home with James universe?
At Home with Annabelle is very boring. I stare at a computer all night and edit photographs.
Okay, well, look, it sounds like you live a boring life. I live a boring life, right? So,
yeah.
So maybe your segments are just a very ordinary, very plain. I imagine with the At Home with Annabelle program, there'd be like maybe a bit of jazz music playing in the background.
You nailed it.
Yeah, bit of jazz. And what if every night your family were your guests on the show?
That's not a good idea.
Why not?
Why? Well, because first of all, they whine a lot, and generally they don't want me to talk very much either. They don't like anything I have to say, and would rather do things on their own. So I just cook and clean up after them.
Okay, well, so I want to get into this, right? We're going to examine this, right? Let's say there was the At Home with Annabelle show. Let's say that your Dave, not speaking about my
not your Dave
Kaufman, is your husband. What do you think you'd talk about if your husband was on the program and you had to be like, what segment could I come up with me and my old man?
What would we talk about?
Yeah, what if you're like, what segment could I do with my hubby, as the Brits say?
We could talk about the movies we don't watch together. We could do that.
Okay,
What we
right.
disagree on.
Okay, so kind of like a men are from Mars, women are from Venus. He
Yeah.
likes action movies, and I like romance.
Romance, exactly. Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, okay, so kind of to show people like we don't have the same taste in movies, but gosh darn it, we love each other.
Yeah.
Well, your delayed response puts fear into me. I will not follow up. Now, Annabelle, let's say your daughter was on the At Home with Annabelle show. What would you talk about with your daughter?
We talk about all of the things that make her roll her eyes at me right now.
Okay, so kind of like dorky mom stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, so let's talk about this. What do you do that makes your daughter, now your daughter's at a precarious age, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a lot of judgment, like boring things that I like. I like boring things. I think it's real sad that I like to play cards by myself.
Sure.
Yeah, they
okay,
think.
well, hold on. I do that. Okay, so maybe that means I'm boring in the eyes of teenagers. What else do you do that's boring that you think your daughter would roll her eyes at?
They don't like the fact that I'm not a big dessert fan. So they think that's really lame.
So if you're out to dinner and the waiter's like, oh, dessert, and your husband's like, I'll have a rice pudding, and your daughter's like Black Forest cake, and your son's Jello, and then you go, nothing for me. Your daughter would do this.
Or I would like order an apple. That would be like me. I'll have an apple for dessert. And they're like, there's so many things you could have in this world.
You play cards alone. You're eating apples over dessert. What else is boring about you that your daughter would roll her eyes at?
What else is boring about me? I mean, you're looking at it. I don't even have any ideas. You're putting me on the spot, James. I resent this.
Oh, I'm putting you on the spot in an interview program? Yeah. How dare I? How dare I? Now, your son, the youngest person in your household, what would you talk about with your son on the show?
Well, he has loads of ideas about facts, so I would let him just spill about his facts of the day, which are not researched.
Quirky tidbits.
Yes, quirky tidbits. Lots of like encyclopedia stuff, or yeah. He would have a lot to say. I wouldn't have to say anything. He would just run this whole segment. Well, so
let's stretch a little bit further. Right now, you've got a sister as well, and if I'm correct, does she live across the street from you?
She does, yeah.
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I've spent time with your sister. We were all at a bar together, and she was highly intoxicated. What segment do you think you would have your sister do on the At Home with Annabelle show?
How about
it'd be like wine tasting?
Wine tasting. What music we can bond over in a taxi cab or Uber, sure. I guess is what we were doing. Yeah, we could do that. What else would she talk about? Oh, she likes to talk about how embarrassing I was as a teenager. That's okay, so fun.
It would basically be like similar to this, maybe making Annabelle a little blushy, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, now
we recently did that actually last week after the show, and Jason was there for that little segment that she put on.
Okay, so your sister was holding court, belittling you.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
All right. So
I have a question for you. Did you ever look up your school results at standardized testing? Did you ever look up your results? Because you can actually go back to the school and find out how you did.
I did
aware.
That.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that go?
It was pretty standard. I found out that I was not great at math.
Yeah, I don't even know I don't even know what grade of math I finished high school in, but hold on. I want to back up here a little bit, Annabelle. What if we were to do an episode of this show featuring you and your entire family?
No, that's not happening.
Now,
but
we can acknowledge that it would be a happening, right? It would be a great episode.
That's a no, James.
It's, yeah,
That's
I'm
that's
in,
a no.
in a hypothetical world though, it would be a huge get on the at-home program.
The whole Agnew tribe or
Oh yeah,
family
just
or
imagine
whatever we
everyone
are.
in their own little separate. It'd be like the Brady Bunch.
Oh no, you have to
And
understand.
then it would be like, Annabelle, we've got a surprise for you. And then I'd be like to the tech, I'd say, hit the music, and then it'd be Annabelle Agnew, this is your life, and it's an episode honoring you. Now, coming in from the chat, we've got, quote, the audience demands it.
No, who's that? Who said that?
This is a courtesy of Charlito Monty. Now, I do want to ask, if you had to have one of your family members on the show with you, who would you pick? Like, okay, this will go as best can be.
My cat, Steve.
Okay, so you're picking your cat, right? Annabelle, this, I have to say, this is a big, everyone knows I'm a family man. I love family. I love spending time with family.
Okay.
I'm a family man, right?
So how come you don't put your family on your show?
They're a little nervous. Right? You know,
okay.
My mom, she doesn't know how to work technology. My sister works at night. My old man is dead. It's a whole thing, right? Now, Annabelle, here's the question, right? Would it have been easier if we had just talked about COVID or the path that we went down?
Yeah, okay, COVID would have been a lot easier. You put me like this was terrible. This was awful.
This was terrible, Annabelle. I think this is a 10 on 10 segment, right?
Oh.
Well, okay, let's keep idea generating. Let's come up with how about this? Different segment ideas. We'll cram as much as we can in to this.
Okay. The best things about McDonald's. That I can
okay,
do
so
a lot
this
of
is
that.
this is a third segment that we're doing within the show. Okay, folks, you thought it was going to be COVID tips with Annabelle. Nope. Then we went family time with Annabelle. Nope. Now we've gone down to this a great topic. The best items at McDonald's. Annabelle, let's go to you. The number 10 best item at McDonald's. Go.
Number 10.
Number 10. Oh. Hey, you wanted this segment. You wanted the best. There we go. The top 10 best items at McDonald's. Number 10 is?
Number 10 is the apple pie.
Okay, the apple pie. A fantastic item, but apparently you don't like dessert, so we're getting conflicting information here. But you do like apples.
Apples are fine.
It's
apples
the best
are
of both
fine.
worlds. Great. Number. Yep.
I always eat it on the road. Always eat it on the road. So
right, yeah.
I have to think about what can I eat and drive with at the same time. So I have to qualify that all of my decisions are based on road rules, which don't apply to my real life.
Okay, so you're saying that the McDonald's apple pie tastes best when you're driving. Here we go. The number 9 best item at McDonald's is?
What about you? You've got to chime in here. It can't just be me.
I'm going to say the number 10 best item at McDonald's. I got to go apple pie. Annabelle, let's go with your number 9 best item at McDonald's.
I don't even know if I know enough of the items. I can just tell you what I like.
Sure, let's go with whatever comes to the top of your mind at number 9.
Number 9, McChicken.
Ooh, now the McChicken sandwich, right? I'm a big fan of the junior chicken. What's interesting about the McChicken is it's not called mayonnaise, it's called McChicken sauce.
I thought it was like a special sauce or something, but I could be wrong.
I always understood that it was mayonnaise, but I guess it's a simulated mayo, right? A very simple sandwich. You've got the bun, the chicken patty with the chicken sauce, and then you've got shredded lettuce.
Yeah, it's great. It's an easy one.
On the road?
On the road, not so easy, but
a little messy.
A little bit of lettuce in your lap. It's fine.
A little bit of lettuce in your lap, which is also a Lornette song, if I understand correctly.
That is definitely a song for sure.
Now, Annabelle, let's go to the number 8 best item at McDonald's.
I've messed this. I've already messed all of this up. I don't, because I haven't.
Annabelle, you're being too hard on yourself, right? This is the segment you wanted, the best items at McDonald's. Let's go to the number 8 best item.
A cheeseburger. I hate this.
Ooh, cheese. You can't go wrong with a little tiny cheeseburger, right? You got the
Yeah,
bun.
you need like two of them. You can't just have one.
Oh,
you
you
need,
need
two.
to. You absolutely need to. Mustard, ketchup, little tiny onions, and a couple slices of pickle. I don't like it. I love it. The number 7 best item at McDonald's, according to Annabelle Agnew, is.
Oh God, this is a long list. I can't even get there. I'm holding out for like what I think is the best.
Oh, this can be a 3-part segment.
Okay, we'll go with the chicken nuggets. It probably should be 5, but I'm gonna go with chicken
okay,
nuggets.
it probably should be 5, but it's coming in at a 7, which means I wonder what 5 is going to be. The chicken nuggets, you can't go wrong, whether it's a 6-piece, 10-piece, or the fabled 20-piece. Annabelle, what's your dipping sauce of choice? Is it classic barbecue?
The hot mustard. The hot
mustard. I love the hot mustard, right? The McDonald's style hot mustard. And Annabelle, the follow-up question is, what's number 6 best item at McDonald's?
The hash brown. That should be number 3, but
it should be number 3, but it's number 6. When they're hot, fresh out the oil, hit them with that salt, that crisp, that crunch. It's a staple of the McDonald's breakfast. We're at the halfway point, Annabelle. The number 5 best item at McDonald's.
The coffee.
The coffee, right? The coffee that was so hot that someone once sued McDonald's after spilling it on themselves and burning.
Right.
The McDonald's coffee, you buy 7 of them, you get a free one after using all those stickers. Great for when you're on the road.
Which I never collect, but I love them.
I do. I absolutely do. Annabelle, well, we're getting there. The number 4 best item at McDonald's, according to Annabelle Agnew.
Fuck. The Egg McMuffin, although that's normally my number 1.
Okay, it's supposed to be number 1, but here we go. It's number 4. Are we talking the sausage egg McMuffin?
What? No, it's number 3 or something, right?
No,
we're almost there. Oh shit.
So which McMuffin are we talking about?
I have one with no meat on it. So I like the egg and cheese.
Egg, cheese, English muffin.
It's the perfect sandwich. I love that sandwich so much.
I think there's a argument to be made that the Egg McMuffin is the best thing at McDonald's, but according to you, it's the 4th best thing. Let's go. It's the top 3. Annabelle, your 3rd best item at McDonald's, according to you, in a segment carefully curated by you.
Filet-O-Fish.
The Filet-O-Fish. It should be 20, but it's 3. Filet-O-Fish, the square fish patty, tartar sauce, hamburger bun. Yuck.
Super good.
Let's go to the number 2 best item at McDonald's.
Number 2, I don't know, the McFlurry.
The McFlurry. Now, which McFlurry? Score, M&M, Oreo?
I would go with the Score. Going back to
Score.
My old
there we go. Okay, so
bar.
Annabelle, we've gone 10 through 2. What is the best item at McDonald's?
I've been saving this one. I knew what number 1 is. It's the French fry at the bottom of the bag.
The French fry at the bottom of the bag. So not the container of fries, but the one, as I call it, the Lone Ranger that's hanging low.
It makes my day every time because I'm not sure it's going to be there. And then I'm driving and I root around and I'm like, come on, it's got to be there.
Now, Annabelle, at the top of the segment, you said, I thought we were going to do something like the Wheel of Topics. And in many ways we did. We talked about COVID. We talked about your relationship with your family. And then we close things out with a top 10 best items at McDonald's list.
Annabelle, which is all wrong. It's all wrong, but who cares?
Annabelle, you spoke from the heart, which means it's not all wrong. It's all right.
Thanks, James.
Now, coming in from the chat, we've got a very controversial list. We've also got no Big Mac.
No, I'm not a Big Mac person.
Annabelle, how about this, right? I can feel that there's some tension here. Now, what if I make a deal with you, right? I think for you, this was not a great segment. I loved it.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun, right? So 50% of the participants loved it. 50%, not so much. What if next time you come on, I validate your hope and your dream, and we do the random wheel of topics?
All right, that sounds great. And if perhaps there is a McDonald's portion of that, I'll be better prepared. for your random wheel.
Annabelle, you spoke from the heart. Look, I think you're going to look back on this when you leave this call and go, you know what, that was pretty fun. This is, in a lot of ways, you've truly been baptized as a true guest on this show, because no one truly appears on this show without being teased at some point or another by me.
That's right. It's my time. Now,
Yeah.
Am I an official legend, or am I still sort of maybe a legend? Getting up there.
Annabelle, you've officially reached legendary status. Because you came here, you played ball. Sure, it was a tough day at the plate, but at the end, you hit a home run. The fireworks are going off. You won the World Series, and I thank you so much for coming up to the plate.
Yeah, anytime.
Annabelle, we did it again. We created broadcast magic. Well, thanks so much for being here, and we'll talk soon.
Yes.
That is Annabelle Agnew, who is shrouded in displeasure. Folks, let's welcome our third and final guest. He's got a very special announcement. If you haven't seen tonight's title of the show, then this is going to come as a surprise. If you've read it, then this won't be a surprise. Let's welcome the one and the only Andy Assaf. Andy, welcome to tonight's program. It's Tuesday. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, James. Oh, guys. Oh, it's enough, guys. Oh, it's so good to be here, James, on a Tuesday of all days.
Andy, would you like to talk about why you're here tonight? What's going on?
Guys, it's really exciting, James, but I'm retiring from At Home with James as the official technical director.
Yeah, and this is not a bit. This is not a joke. Andy, are you at liberty to talk about why you're retiring, or can we do it in kind of a
I am.
way?
I guess I can talk about it. But yeah, I'm actually going to be joining the next main stage cast at Second City in Toronto.
Andy, congratulations. That's very exciting.
Much.
It's going to pull you away from your duties here, and I couldn't be happier that you're being pulled away for that reason.
Well, funny enough, when in my meeting with them, they said they referenced the show as the main reason they made the offer. So, James, in many ways, I have you to thank.
Right. They referenced the show and they said, we can't have you a part of that toilet program anymore because you're bringing down our stock on the market.
No, they said, Andy, we loved it when you played the cigarette advocate, or when Andy goes to jail, that whole storyline. They said they loved, I can't even think of a third episode.
Well, there was, you also played Dr. Jack Nasty.
Of course, one of my classic character bants, James. They said Assaf versus Assaf, you were robbed at every round, and we'd like to make that right. So yeah, it's exciting stuff, James.
Now, in the chat right now, High Score Run giving you a round of applause. Thomas Barnwell writes, wow, Charlito Monty, congrats. Real Andrew Mackay says, awesome stuff, Andy. Looking forward to catching one of your shows.
I am really kind of thrown off at how positive the chat is right now.
Why would it not be positive,
Because usually they're like, yeah, Andy's a sick fuck. Yeah.
Well, I think in fairness, it's not the audience. It's mostly me that does that.
Well, I feel like they yes and they riff with you and
sure.
But no, I thank you so much, chat. I very much appreciate all the well wishes and the congratulations.
And we do want to say this isn't goodbye forever, right? When your schedule accommodates it, you're going to be able to pop back on as a guest and maybe even a backup tech or something.
Maybe James, but I'm going to be pretty busy. But no, I'm kidding. I would love to come back anytime life permits.
Well, Andy, I thought it was important, since you've done, there we go. Yeah. Coming in from the chat.
Back to normal. I love it.
Yeah. We've got from Pump Pond 69. Andy is a sick F. Thomas Barnwell. Yes, but a tainted sick F. And then once again from Pump Pond, not kidding. I really like the sex. Now, Andy, you talked about all the segments you've done, characters and things like that. I thought there's no time like the present to kind of get to know you a little bit better because I know you.
As I'm
I know
leaving
you very
the show,
well.
This is the perfect time to do a get to know you segment.
Yeah, well, I think we just got to know Annabelle Agnew a little bit, and she hated it. But I thought, it's an opportunity to kind of pull the comedy aside and get to know you, right? We've had segments where there's hard-hitting questions and things like that, but what I want to do is use this as an opportunity to let the audience inside to your life a little bit. So what I've done is I've put it to the audience and they've sent in questions getting to know you. Now, we've done mailbag questions where it's like, would you rather eat cheese or ass? It's not anything like that. These are in-depth questions where people want to get to know you a little bit, Andy.
Well, hey, I always say this, James. I'm an open book on this show. I'm very excited to tackle these questions. One quick question. Did any of the questions get submitted by DB Improv Lord 69?
Well, shockingly, the answer is no, because this was a getting to know you segment, and his questions generally, well, I don't want to say him. I don't know who it is.
Kind of like a cry for help.
Well, I don't want to say a cry for help, but it's mostly tech tips. Let's put it that.
Right. Which is a segment that we should have done.
It would have been easy to do a tech zone, but that's just another segment. We're going to get to know you, Andy.
Okay, I'm ready, James.
This first question is a little fun. This is a fun one. This one comes in from Sophia Yiannopoulos, and this comes from Laval, Quebec.
Okay, I like Laval. I have a cousin
Hello,
that lives
Andy.
there. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to you and all of the great work you've done on the Dinner with James show. Well, that's not the name of the show.
Also, amazing they are congratulating me on news that I just broke.
Yeah, look, they're coming in fast and furious, right? We've been inundated with letters and emails. Sophia Yiannopoulos goes on to write, I'll cut right to the chase. You look like a guy who has spent a lot of time inside of a hot tub. So my question is this. Who would be your ideal 4 guests to join you inside of the bubbles, and why am I one of them, LOL?
Okay.
Just kidding, until I'm not. Winky emoji. Signed, Sophia Yiannopoulos. So despite, there's some very light flirtatious there. This is a fun question, right? And we've done segments like this. We had like your celebrity sleepover. Andy, if you had to invite 4 guests into a hot tub, who would you invite?
Okay, can I ask a follow-up that you can just, I guess, fill in for? It was Stephanie Yiannopoulos.
Sophia Yiannopoulos.
Sophia Yiannopoulos.
Yep.
I'm assuming Greek. Is this a hot tub in like a hotel hot tub? Is this like, budget in motel hot tub? Or is this like a hot tub at a cottage underneath the night sky in like...
Yeah, it doesn't clarify. So I would
Rockies?
say it's open to interpretation. So if you want to make it motel, hotel, backyard, at a cabin or a chalet, you pick it and you find the 4 people you want to take a soak with.
Okay, well, either way, Pam and Tommy have to be there.
Okay, so you're picking Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee.
But current Pam Anderson, Tommy Lee, I think we can, they can make it work. They can talk about the old days,
right?
And it would be hot and bubbly.
Let's hope the chlorine is plentiful.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. That's a tough one to fill out that roster.
You get 2 more.
I get 2 more. I think having you there would be fun too.
Okay, so it's you, me, Tommy Lee, and Pam Anderson.
Yeah, I'm liking that image in my head because I know, James, I don't know if the audience knows this, but I know you're a bit of a hot tub fiend.
Yeah, I like a hot tub. I do like hot tubs.
You stayed in a hot tub until you were ill.
Yes, I was in a hot tub for about 40 minutes until I was alerted that, hey, your insides are cooking. I went to a hotel room and I got into a cold shower and I was keeping myself propped up under the water with my arm because I was so disoriented.
Yeah, you got hot tub COVID before it even existed. So I think you would be there because you would keep the party rolling and people wouldn't be as likely to leave if you were there.
Sure.
And then I don't know about my 4th pick. We're 5 people in a hot tub. How do you round out a nice hot tub?
Well, let's think about the people that are closest in your life. What about your dad?
So it'd be you, me, Pamela Anderson, and Tommy Lee,
and your dad,
and Mike Assaf.
Yeah. You don't have to say yes.
I'm gonna lock it in, James. That sounds like a party.
I don't know if I feel worse for Pam Anderson or me.
Mike famously, as the son of a Lebanese man, no achievement is ever enough. I told him I got a maid stage, and he said, "Cool, man." So, but I feel like if I put him in a hot tub with Pamela Anderson and Tommy,
he'll finally be proud.
come around and get it.
All right. Well, this took a turn here, so we hope Sophia Yiannopoulos that answers your question.
And hey,
Andy,
Sophia can come too.
All right. Well, Andy, you ready for your next question?
Sure.
Now, this is someone who sent in a question before. This comes from Wayne Profiteroles. And he's sending this from Ville Saint Laurent in Montreal. He writes, Andy, how are you?
So wait, did you have a field in the question mark that said, what neighborhood do you live
Yes.
in?
Yeah, there is a neighborhood field. Yeah.
That's good.
Wayne writes, Andy, how are you? I hope things are well. Sadly, I can't say the same about myself. Unfortunately, I was thrown out of a bar over the weekend. I was passionately kissing a woman. Then in brackets, he writes, you get it. But I had consumed one too many Miller brand beers. To make matters worse, I was doing it on a full stomach after eating an entire tray of deviled eggs at my dad's funeral. A lot of dad stuff tonight. Wayne goes on to write, this is all to say, what goes down must come up. I'm ashamed to admit it. I threw up all over the lady I was kissing and down her shirt.
Okay, so this is a classic Joaquin Phoenix from Signs, but the reverse.
Oh,
okay.
there's more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I also threw up onto a video lotto terminal. My question is this. Is there something popular you don't like, but something unpopular you do like? Thanks, Wayne.
Okay, so that was just flavor text, I guess, that led up to that.
Yeah, I think he went off on a bit of a tangent after saying that he hopes things are well with you. So his question
he was gonna ask, like, how do I recover from that? Like I was gonna probably refer him to like Jason, who's been to a lot of those Steve Shitter concerts and probably has had similar experiences.
No, the question is actually, is there something unpopular that you would say you like, and something popular that you would say you don't like?
Okay, well, definitely popular that I don't like, and Jason and I have fought about this many times, is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not for me.
Yeah, Jason's a Marvel head.
Jason will once asked to fist fight me in the streets. We were having a coffee, and he said, I think we should fight right now because I didn't like Ant-Man or some shit. So that would be the most popular thing that I don't like.
Okay, so you don't like the Marvel. So you and Martin Scorsese have something in common.
Yeah, and then something unpopular that I do like?
Yeah.
I'm kind of drawing a blank on this one. What's unpopular these days? I feel like anything you can find
improv.
A group. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. Anything, though, you can find a group of people that like it. It's hard to find something that's pretty like Russian hats, maybe, but
right.
Yeah, I guess I'll think about that one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Okay. I like a lot of things, but most of them are pretty
answered 50% of the question. Now, let's move on to our next question. This one comes in from Rebecca Strathhorn. That's quite a name.
Sounds like royalty.
Sending this from the town of Mount Royal. So this one's coming in from TMR. Yep.
Probably
okay, so this
Greek.
Starts very sophisticated. Hello, Andrew. My name is Rebecca Strathhorn. I'm a confident 37-year-old owner of a successful Pilates studio, and I drive a Tesla. Based on that, you might think I have it all. The only thing I'm missing in my life is a good man. The issue is I seem to attract whatever is swimming around the sewers and gallivanting around the gutters. This is all to say, you seem like one of the good ones. So, Andrew, tell me, what are some of your turn-ons and turn-offs? This is strictly for education purposes.
Right, of course.
Signed, suggestively yours, Rebecca. Sounds like Rebecca maybe went on a date recently with Wayne Profiterole.
So you said she drives a Tesla and runs a Pilates studio?
Yeah, she owns a successful Pilates studio. She seems self-made and wants to know, I guess in the dating world, Andy, what turns you on?
I mean,
what turns you off?
I'd be pretty impressed if I met someone who both drove a Tesla and ran a Pilates studio. Personally.
So that type of success would turn you on.
I think so. However, if that is now she led kind of with that as her kind of thing.
Sure.
And that I might second glance at, you know, if you develop your personality around your car and your job.
Yeah.
So
that's a turn off.
I think so. But yeah, I don't know. I think confidence is good. Is always good, James. What do you think is a turn on?
For you, like what would I pick as a turn on
just
for
generally
you?
For women. Like, is it like
I
if
would
they're
say
over 40, if they
I would say
if
something
they like
that
comedy.
I'd say something that turns me on is when women laugh at my jokes.
Okay. Hey, we're being honest here. That is
No, I wouldn't.
nice
No,
thing.
unfair. That made that I sound like Rebecca Strathhorn here. I'm leading in with something a little bit, egotistical.
Mm. Would you say that you make improv a big part of your identity?
No, I mean, it is a big part of my identity, but I would never dare say that it would be part of my identity. Like if I was talking to a lady, it would be like, so you know that I do a lot of improv.
You're saying your Tinder bio.
I don't have a Tinder bio.
Wouldn't say improv guy James McGee at
No,
your
never.
service, milady.
No, I don't think it would ever say
James,
that.
That's one segment we never got to.
Yeah, which is I start a Tinder profile and I go on the date on the show.
Right, and we, as your higher council members of dating, I think Raquel wanted to do it.
Yep.
Steph wanted to do it. We could then guide you to make.
Everyone wanted to do it.
Profile.
Everyone wanted to do it.
We can get the audience to vote on certain things.
You know what I would say turns me on is autumn tones.
I would not put that on a dating profile, James, if I'm being honest.
Okay, we lobbed the question. This is getting to know Andy, right? We've been getting to know James.
I get it. Look,
yeah.
I love a good neutral palette, just like the other guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a turn on necessarily in the case of dating. I think, okay, honest answer.
What about this kindness?
Overrated.
All right, so there's another popular thing you dislike.
Overrated. There's my popular thing I dislike. No, I think if you're too kind, come on.
We're getting into murky waters here when it comes to your love life here.
No, but it's true. If you're like overly
like a hardened lady.
If you're overly nice. I told the story yesterday, and I think I'm going to tell on the show because it reminded me. But I once dated someone who was very, very nice. Okay, very kind person, worked a lot for charities. And this particular week, I don't know if you remember this, James, but we did an outdoor improv show in Mount Royal. And I did a pratfall and bruised my rib outside. And so I was injured at the time. So I was really injured. I was feeling really bad. And we said, okay, let's go get some dinner. And we go for a walk. And there's this big guy who's crossing paths with us, who's I've known from around the neighborhood. I know he is houseless. He's just a guy who's just kind of lives around the neighborhood, but he's huge. He's like 6'5", right? And she pulls out of her pocket and gives him a $50 bill.
Okay.
And the guy takes it. He's like, he just asked for like, hey, do you have any change? And she gives him a $50 bill, and he stops us and grabs her by the arms and goes, wait, I need to look at you. I need to remember your face. And I'm there like, okay, all right, man, enjoy your 50. But also going, why the fuck did you give him $50? It's
right.
way too much.
Charitable.
Too charitable. And I'm injured, and I'm thinking I have to then.
You wanted the $50.
And
you wanted the $50.
We're going for dinner. Fucking buy us dinner, and then we'll give him the change after. So you can be too kind, is my point.
All right, so now we understand that you don't like a charitable woman and you're anti-homeless. Let's move on to our next question here. Andy, this is actually our final question. This one I think is almost pretty apropos here. This one comes from Doug the Slug Selger, and he's writing from Hudson, Quebec.
Oh.
Hey, Andy, what's up? So this is the Budweiser
Doug?
was up.
Yeah.
Goes on to write, the name is Doug the Slug. Judging from that, you might be able to tell that I'm a bit of a ham. At least that's what my friends tell me, especially my closest pals, Pat the Rat and Glenn the Toilet. We call Glenn that because he's full of you-know-what. Now that I'm retired, then in brackets he writes, I spent 35 years on the FBI.
Okay.
Oh, wait, he goes on to write the female body
Yeah.
inspectors. Ha 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 ha. Just kidding. I worked for Cogeco Cable. I'm looking for a hobby.
Is that a local Hudson, Quebec?
I think it's like a regional cable.
Regional, yeah.
I'm looking for a hobby. Plus, the wife told me I need to get the heck out of the house every once in a while. I'm curious to know if improv might be for me. Also, what got you into improv and kept you there? P.S. Do I get a discount if I'm already funny? It's from Doug the Slug Selger.
Look, I will never come on here and say boomers shouldn't be doing improv. I think some boomers become some great improvisers, many of who we know and we see often on the show, who might be sporting some fashionable hats. I think with our friend here, Doug, I think improv can be a great hobby for you, Doug. However, I will put an asterisk to that, which is don't go in with thinking you're the funny guy.
Okay, so there's a bit of advice, but as the question said, Andy, what got you into improv and what kept you doing it?
Mental illness probably kept me doing it. No, that very same girlfriend was the one who actually told me to do it. She said, you'd like it. And I said, James, I think I've told you this. I said, quote, improv's for nerds. And I still feel that way. However, I myself am one. So.
Yeah. And this is, of course, where we met. I saw this tall lumberjack figure walking up the staircase at 3697 Boulevard Saint Laurent.
And how old did you think I was?
I thought that you were a man in your 40s looking for a hobby. I essentially thought you were.
You thought I was Doug the Slug.
Yeah.
So and you didn't bat an eye, did you? When you're like, okay, here's another one of these guys.
Yeah. But then I was met with such kindness.
Same here, James, and I think that is what made me stay. Honestly. So if I had advice for Doug the Slug is take improv specifically with you, James. Levels 1
that's
through
very
4.
nice. Yeah.
And then memory hole level 5.
Now, Andy, I think this is a great question to end the segment on, right? Because not only did you start taking improv about 7 years ago, it's led you to now taking on this great, exciting role at the main stage of the Second City.
That is true, James. I don't think I've said this many a times. I don't think I would have ever stayed with it, and let alone make it my job. And very much it's thanks to you and your guidance as both a good friend and a mentor.
That's very nice. It's very unnecessary of you to say, Andy. I think that your charm and your wit and your work ethic really it paved the way for you.
Yeah, but only one guy made me realize how to use it.
It sounded like you were veering into an impersonation.
You know what, man? Listen, just you gotta take life by. Come on, man.
I've never said anything like that. You
gotta take life by life is just one big scene, man. You know, we say yes.
I've never talked about improv like that.
All right, let's get a hot dog.
Yeah, that sounds more like me. James, me. Well, look.
Do you remember the picture that I took of you in New York eating? What was that restaurant?
It was from the Papaya King.
The Papaya King.
It's one of my favorite pictures. The fabled vacation that people accuse me of being angry the entire time.
No, you had a good time, and a big part of it was the Papaya King.
Maybe what we need to do is some type of reunion episode on this show where we detail this vacation that essentially happened from the perspectives of many different people.
I think we should retrace those steps and get to the truth of that. I would love to be there. We can go to New York City again and stream from there.
Well, that could be an interesting one, right? By August, it will be the 5-year anniversary of that vacation.
That's insane.
That is insane.
We could title it James Goes to New York. It's like an Olsen Twins movie.
Oh, yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be straight to VHS.
But hey, it's going to be good.
Well, Andy, look, before we let you go, there's a couple things I want to say. One is you're going to close out tonight's show. You're going to close it out for us. You're going to do it. You do it however you like.
I hate when
Second
I
of all,
this, yeah.
I'm a very lucky guy, most notably because you agreed for the past however long it's been, well over a year now, to volunteer your time and your work and your services every Wednesday for this project where I'm not sure there's a payoff at the end of this. I'm really not quite sure.
It's never felt like volunteering. The payoff has been the thing, man. It's
and
so
maybe
fun.
That's it, right? The payoff has been that we get to come together on a weekly basis, sometimes multiple times a week together, and do this show together and collaborate, even though we're in very different cities. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this for as long as you have. I owe you just a huge debt of gratitude, and I'll pay it to you in some way that I can't guarantee will be monetary, but I would like to imagine it will be. But
James, you know me. All I want is a coffee, man.
Well, then I'll buy you more than one coffee. I joke and say that there won't be a monetary compensation, but there will be in some way, shape, or form. One day I hit it. When I hit it as big as you, right? When I get to the levels of the Andy Assafs and the Mike Assafs of the world, then I'll be hitting it big. But I'm ultimately so happy that we got to do this as friends over the last little while because, you live in different provinces. You don't get to collaborate as much as we used to when you were living here. So I'm so glad that we got to do this. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And before we say goodnight, I got to make a special announcement because you were one of the few people that I was talking to this about. I think it's time that we reveal it once and for all. Now, we don't have big specifics. I think maybe you know what I'm getting at here, but we're going to do it. I'm eyeballing sometime in the summer. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but it is going to happen. We are officially going to do the first and quite possibly only ever live at home with James. A full-blown audience included spectacle. I don't know what it is, but it's going to happen, and you're going to be there, and I will be the person paying for your train ticket down here.
James, I'm so stoked. And I mean, technically, because of the show title, we'll probably have to move a lot of your things in your house to wherever we do the show.
Is it too late to cancel it? Can I go back and take back the announcement?
Because you can't say you're at home if your home's not there.
Yeah, it's at home on the road.
Okay. On the road with James McGee.
Yeah, it's on the road with James.
I think you should just pivot this show to you doing a front-facing camera stream from your car.
Okay, well, maybe one day when I get my driver's license and I get a car, I'm able to do that. But we're going to do it. Please stay posted for details. And Andy, you're going to be there and you'll be a big part of it.
I can't wait, James. And thank you, everyone, too, who's been watching these shows for the last whatever amount of time we've been doing.
We're closing in on 360 episodes.
Ooh, Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's Xbox 360. Well, Andy, look, congratulations again. Now I hand it over to you. You close out this show and we say goodnight together.
Folks, you know it. You love it. Tomorrow, Dave Kaufman will be back from his nerd convention. We'll be doing a special Wednesday night show with very special guests, Dave Matthews Band. Folks, thank you so much. Life is just one big improv scene, so make sure you grab it by the scene work and say yes. And I've been James McGee, you've been you, we've been here, we did this, and now it's time to say goodnight.